Ain't no half Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den of Legacy Internet Radio. Y'all listening to live radio, y'all live production, live radio. So as we kind of move on to our next segment here, I've got a brother that y'all hear. If you're listening to Legacy Internet Radio every day like you should be, you hear this brother leading the show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on All Throttle Radio. We got our brother Dirk Diggler on the live line. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
Nah, we doing good, man. It's good to talk to you on the airwaves of Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. Been a little bit of time since we were able to have you on, man. We appreciate it. When I reached out to you this morning, I reached out to you because I wanted to get your opinion on this story as a biker. I don't even really know where to begin about this guy running these brothers down. Talking about he fell asleep at the wheel. I know you're versed in it. I know you know what went down. Why don't you share with the listeners what you know about it and what your feeling is about it?
As far as, the whole situation that went down, I know that, the group pulled over. Initially, when we heard about it, it was probably maybe an hour or two, if that. We found out about the accident, and a lot of people were checking in on us because my group was going to North Carolina for our second annuals. So we got a lot of calls immediately about the situation. But from my understanding, the group pulled over. Initially, we heard it was to arrest, but then later they said it was mechanical issues with the bike. There was 6 of them on the side of the road, and which, let me tell you, is not the safest place to be on the highway for any given period of time, on a bike. And the tractor trailer came from the middle lane and took out all the bikes, and people along with them.
Hey, Dirk, we have in the room a sister of ours, Sister Bless. She joins us here on the show from time to time, and she's a rider. I'm going to have her jump in here, Bless. We know you ride as well. Tell us, what's your thoughts on this?
It's very scary to hear about what happened. I usually ride by myself. Someone just asked if I ride with the club, and no, I'm an independent rider. I usually ride by myself. So Lord forbid if something happened to my bike and I have to pull over, me being just one person, I don't understand how you miss 6 people and 6 bikes on the side of the road, no matter how tired you are. I just don't see, and then don't stop when you hit them. I can't understand it. So it's very scary for me as an independent rider, and I ride by myself on highways, that if something was to happen to me, I have to pull over, that my safety is definitely at risk.
Right. Dirk, let me ask you this. Again, and I ask you kind of what maybe sound like dumb questions from time to time because I'm someone who doesn't ride. I'm not in the culture, but I'm fascinated by you and your crew. Is it common for you said it could have been mechanical, but let's just say that it wasn't. It was a rest stop. Is that common for the brothers and sisters to pull over on the side that way, or is it more common for them to wait to a rest stop? What's your thoughts on that?
Let me tell you like this. Even in light of the situation that went down, and being that my group got together and a lot of other people, and we knew about the situation, we had 3 different situations this weekend after knowing the fact that that tractor trailer plowed them down, where we actually pulled over or had to be sidelined on the side of the road. We handled it differently, from the knowledge of, earlier Friday, but we pulled over 3 different times in 3 different places.
Right.
Throughout the weekend. I mean, it happens. I mean, motorcycles, it happens. I've got thousands and thousands of miles with my club brothers, with not my club brothers. And when you're taking a group of, 5, 10, 20 guys, things happen on the road. Right. It's common that things happen on the road.
It's common. Half Steppin with Marcus J, live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Dirk, I appreciate it. I told you I wouldn't keep you long, but I kind of gave you an intro. I want you to tell the Ain't No Half Steppin with Marcus J listeners who you are and when they can find you.
Well, I'm Dirk Diggler, one of the co-founders and the executive board members of New Breed Riders, nationwide organization, motorcycle organization. You can find me and my brothers, the Throttle Kings here on All Throttle Radio, Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Craziest bike show on air anywhere. And, you know, just come through. You want to have a good time, talk about the news, whatever. We here.
We appreciate it, brothers. Good to talk to you, man. Going to talk to you soon, brother.
Yeah.
And just to add,
peace. And you know how Steppin with Marcus J. Bless.
Well, I was just going to say, to add, unfortunately, the fact that people have to pull over sometimes on motorcycles, it's also not uncommon that people die from getting hit on the side of the road, just like they have the move over law for cars and emergency vehicles. There is no move over that I know of for motorcyclists, because most of the time we don't have hazard lights on our motorcycles so that people can see us.
Right.
Most of the time if you see us, it's because a brake light is on or something to that effect. But if it's morning time, like I asked earlier, what time did this accident happen? If it's morning time, you're not going to be as likely to see a light as you will the whole motorcycle.
Right.
But during the night, it's a lot more dangerous.
Right, right. You know how
I just want to add in one thing. It was in the morning, and number two, shout outs to Black Eagle Riders. They were actually on All Throttle Radio since we moved into the new studio. So it really touched home for me. I know PR Queen, and also shout out to one of my brothers who did end up going down this past weekend. We just banged up a bruise, man. God is good. And we didn't actually lose a brother this weekend. So, you know, shout outs to, you know, Black Eagle Riders, and you lost two brothers. They ended up losing another brother.
Wow.
Behind that accident. So, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I get sometimes tongue tied and speechless when I hear about stories like this. I actually thought I had disconnected you, but I'm glad that you're still there, Dirk, because, you know, I was going to ask you. There was a brother I think that was local out of Chester. Is that the brother that you were just referring to?
Yeah. I'm not 100% because I mean I knew them, but that's more of a band thing. Who the brother actually was that was in studio? I knew he was local. I knew he wasn't one of the ones from Woodbridge, that's for sure.
Right.
But I know Queen. You know, I met Caroline a while ago when she was in another club, and you know, here's Naz. You know, what's going on? So when I saw the accident, I saw her bike in the pictures that first came out in the news, and of course, you know, until later. You know, I was kind of somber because they had 3 helicopters on the ground. Everybody got airlifted pretty much. So I knew, you know, likely that she wasn't doing good. And you know, like I said, bro, since we've been in the studio, they came in the new studio. Right. So it really hit home for us. And then, you know, you turn around and then one of your brothers goes down. And you know, for me, it wasn't a great weekend. I can tell you that. Right. But luckily, my brother survived you know, I'd say a triple-digit accident, you know, and that alone is a blessing in itself. So.
I last time I saw you, Dirk, I had a brother of mine. I had forgot to mention it to you. He rides independent, and he went down and suffered a catastrophic injury as a result of going down. And so as someone who's not a rider, I don't want to say opportunity, but I have an idea, rather, what it's like to have someone that's close to you, you know, that suffers the kind of injuries. You know, thankfully he's still here, but he suffered a catastrophic injury, and his life is not going to be the same anymore. And so, you know, I can relate a little bit more at the end of your show when, you know, you guys, you know, you say throw them up and you say your prayers and you shout out the brothers and the sisters who, you know, we tragically lost. I can certainly appreciate it a lot better than I could when I first saw you do that, and that's my word. So, but I'm gonna let you go for real this time, brother. Thank you again for being here on the show with us tonight. We appreciate it, man, and our thoughts and prayers go to your homies that we lost and the ones that are injured.
All right, thank you.
All right, brother, be cool. And you know, have Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. Of course, we didn't get an opportunity to get Kim to jump in on this one. So, Kim, what's your thoughts on this? I know that, you shared some personal stuff during the break. You don't have to get into any of that if you don't want to, but I do want to know what your thoughts are with regards to this particular story.
Absolutely. Well, I would just be interested to know, as I shared during the break, I have been involved in a tractor-trailer accident on the highway where the driver of the trailer did not stop, and that appears to be what happened in this situation as well. In my case, I was told by the police that he didn't stop because his company had a policy against approaching accident sites so that they don't admit fault. In any way, sometimes in situations that are heated, they don't want their drivers to admit fault, thereby making them even more liable than they already are for mowing a car off the road. So right. I would be interested to know if the gentleman that was driving this truck, they say that he fell asleep.
Daniel Cerna of Hollywood, Florida.
And they also say that it's possible that he didn't even know he had hit the people. I don't quite understand how you run off the road and plow through a group of people and don't know that you did it. And he stopped maybe a mile down the road. So right. I would be interested to know who he drives for and what his company says.
Right. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to move along to some other stuff. That one could potentially be a mood killer, but we ain't going to let it happen. So you hear from this brother every third Monday on the show. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Her big brother and my big brother, Big Bro Joe's in the room. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Apologize for being a little late today.
It's all right, man. It's all good. Say peace to Bless. It's first time you meeting her.
Hello. Hey, how are you? All right.
All right. Big Bro Joe, I'm going to throw you right in the fire on this next story. Over the weekend, the gentlemen of the Ku Klux Klan had a rally in South Carolina because they're very, very upset that their flag has since been taken down, and they just want to make sure that their ranks and their presence is felt. And some of them are actually boasting of having swells and interest in their organization, the Ku Klux Klan. It's actually the North Carolina-based Loyal White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan who came out in full force, obviously, to condemn the governor's decision to remove what is believed by them, a symbol of their heritage. But what was not expected was that the brothers showed up as well. And there was I guess, as you say, a showing of arms on both sides, where the black protesters and the Ku Klux Klan members came to a head. And there were some arrests, but for the most part, it ended up being relatively peaceful. But I did want to bring it up because there were a few images that you're laughing, which means you know about the one image that I'm gonna bring up here in a minute. And I don't know if the ladies know, but I'll try to find it to show you. I can't show you on the radio. I haven't learned that trick yet, but you can Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But a lot of the images, you see them yelling and screaming back and forth at each other. Joe, as I'm efforting to pull up this image before you announce what it is, I want to show them before you say it, but tell me what's your thoughts on this.
Well, having moved back home from South Carolina, I can tell you up front that they really weren't hiding too much. They've always been there. The Klan is one of those things that people still fail to realize are the judges, the lawyers, the doctors, the people in higher establishment, but they put those hoods on to hide who and what they really are. So, like I said, me being as boisterous and as loud as I can be sometimes, I sit there and laugh at the fact that some people didn't think that the Klan was really still out there. But they've been there. They ain't ducked and dodged. They've been there.
So, Blessed, I just showed you a picture that I don't think you've seen before. So why don't you describe for the listeners what you see in this picture?
In my opinion, it is a white male that is having a standoff of sorts with a much taller black young male, and it looks as though he was a little afraid and tinkled on himself, if that's the politically correct word.
He pissed his pants. He pissed his pants.
Literally,
you know, which
is
is scary, and it's kind of gonna.
Oh, not the black man. Well, let's get this straight. The white man.
The white man is peeing his pants, which is leading me a little bit to something that we're gonna talk about later on. That Kim brought up to my attention about, you know, why aren't we afraid of white men? And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But clearly, there's some fear of black men that goes on in this country.
Maybe it was hot and his water bottle was in his pocket.
Yeah, and it burst all of a sudden, perhaps.
Right in the front.
Right there in the front.
Maybe he was just drunk and he got scared the piss out of.
Maybe he was scared of the brother who he had just called the N-word.
Yeah. And didn't think that he was going to do anything.
Because you know what's funny about this, and you know I shouldn't speculate on what was said between them, because I really don't know. But if we're just to have some fun, to analyze the picture, Big Bruh, looking at this picture, this white dude has one arm behind his back, one arm almost in a, you know, almost like he's ready to ball up his fist kind of posture, but he is kind of standing back as if he is showing complete fear in his face. And the brother is in a clearly aggressive posture. There's no question.
Oh, there's no doubt.
There's no question the brother's in an aggressive posture, but I would guess that there is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 feet between them.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy, but the reach. I mean, if
I'm
looking at what I'm looking at.
He could have grabbed a hold of him if he wanted to.
He could snatch him up kind of quick. He might put them paws on him.
Well, I brought this up because, you know, the Ku Klux Klan, we know who they are. It's, you know, we're under no illusions about who they are. And, you know, we talked this Confederate flag thing to death over the last few weeks, and it's on the news, so that makes it relevant. So we are going to talk about it. But, you know, for those folks who want to give me this argument, Blessed, about it being heritage and about it being about Southern pride, you know, a lot of the emotion that you see coming from that side is anger and venom.
It is.
And there's a lot of, you know, there's a sister of mine. I won't call her name because she didn't say that I could, but I know her story. I don't know if y'all know, but on Saturday, while that rally was going on in South Carolina, there was a rally of sorts here in the Richmond, Virginia area, and there was a convoy of about 10 pickup trucks that had very large Confederate flags flying from them. And a sister of mine was in a car at a light, and her story is these people were trying to get her attention, and when she refused to give them attention, her children, of course, were in the vehicle, and they were a little bit annoyed. So eventually she said, "What do y'all want?" And they shouted expletives at her. And that was someone that I know personally, and I'd heard more stories like that. And so if it's really about Southern pride, then tell me how hate groups like the Sons of the Confederate, because you can say what you want, they're hate group to me. KKK, Aryan Nation, all of these people who proclaim to be superior are adopting this flag as their symbol, very, very similar to how the Germans did with the swastika.
Okay, well, if you remember, like, when I was coming on a regular basis, Author Charisma was here, and we had a conversation about the flag, and I was trying to explain at that time about heritage and Southern pride and things of that nature, and Author Charisma did not want to hear it at all. Dashika, I'm sorry, I'm not sure which name we call her on the show nowadays, but
that's the dating pool diva.
Yes, the dating pool diva. And I tried to explain that point of view, and people were not trying to hear it in here. But now that this has come out, I can't explain why things are being adopted and used in the wrong way. In my opinion, the Eye of Horus isn't something that's supposed to be a bad symbol, but now it's supposedly an Illuminati symbol. I don't understand why these supposed good symbols are turned around and used as something of hate. But this flag right now in Petersburg, Short Pump, wherever in Virginia that you see this flying, yes, when it comes along with N-words and expletives, yes, you're trying to intimidate someone. It's not about your heritage anymore. It's not about how you grew up in the South and your great-grandparents or whoever fought in the Civil War. This is about you trying to intimidate someone.
Right. No, I can dig it. Big Bro Joe?
Well,
Amen.
Yeah, thank you. Because, it's for me. You know how that. I told you what I think about that flag. Number one,
Right.
that flag for me, the flag itself is just like you said. It's just a piece of material that people are rallying behind on a prejudicial note, and they just lying to themselves. You can say whatever you want to say. I mean, if it's hurtful for a group, it should not be where it is. I mean, my thing, like I said, when I was in South Carolina, and I lived there for quite a bit of time,
Right.
and it flew in Columbus.
Right.
And it's like, really, you really gonna, and the majority of the folks down in Columbus was black too.
Right.
I'm like, come on, y'all, seriously. The one thing I will say, and you know, you made the point, they said it was a peaceful peaceful demonstration.
But people got arrested at the end of it.
in Henrico.
Oh, in Henrico. Here,
But what was funny for me was the Petersburg incident where the Colonial Heights wouldn't give the group who wanted to have the parade, and the trucks just rolled up and down the streets in Petersburg. And why? Well, I can't for the life of me understand how brazen you really are to drive down Petersburg, Washington
With
Street,
yes.
with and
That's
Washington
the hood.
Street.
Again, for Jersey City people, Jackson Avenue. I mean, it's
Martin Luther King Boulevard, whichever one you want to get on.
Jackson Avenue is now called Martin Luther King Drive, but no one calls it that. We
Right.
still call it the old name, which is Jackson Avenue. Ain't no half Steppin, Marcus J. Live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Shout out to the new listeners that we've got, folks that are listening to us who saw our posts on Black Professionals Network. We appreciate you folks that are listening to us. All the shows that you're hearing tonight will be archived and listened to again on podcast form on YouTube by tomorrow. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. The only thing that I'll say on the Confederate flag, because I want my position to be very, very clear, and I've said this on this show in the past, I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it again the next time this comes up, but that flag to me is a symbol of insurrection. It's a symbol of a group of people who wanted to secede from the Union, which is treason. It's a symbol of people who wanted to fight against the country. In today's world, if there was a flag that was created and these people decided that they did not like the United States Constitution and they wanted to fight against the United States, all of these people would be deemed domestic terrorists, and it would be deemed treason based upon what they've done, and they all would be shot on the spot. Kim?
As I've said before, and I don't know if I said it here the last time, but with the Confederate flag and with what you were just saying about treason, okay, you lost the war. You don't get a symbol.
You don't get a symbol.
On. You know, in any other country around the globe, when a regime is put down,
right,
it's put down.
Right.
We don't fly the flag.
Right.
And so, you know, I personally, if you want to have the flag at your house, more power to you. It's nothing I can do about that.
And I know how you are now.
Yeah,
so.
I already know, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, exactly. You know, go ahead and tell me that I can't come knock on your door for assistance. I appreciate it. But for it to be anywhere else, on any government building, in any public space, is the issue. And for them to have the audacity to think that that is a part of their freedom is a little bit suspect.
We're getting a hit from Cousin Terry. She hit us up earlier in the last segment. She's hitting us up again. She says the fear of the black man is actually the core of racism. The black man that was kidnapped in Africa were beaten into submission. This is why the first thought of someone is to approach the man with hostility. It's fear. Absolutely 100% agree with you on that one. I guess we need to understand why there is such a strong feeling of fear that comes, you know, and we can absolutely debate that. Everybody's going to have a different opinion with regards to that. But I think the way it comes out is a lot of the negativity that you see socially in our country. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, you lost the war. You lost the war, you know. But the fact that it's been able to fly publicly in our country is an example of how easy it is for the government to show outward examples of racism, and for them to try to justify it by saying that it's freedom of speech and heritage and all of this kind of stuff. I mean, just because it's just coming down now, it's always been offensive. You know, if it wasn't offensive, then the KKK and the Aryans would not have adopted it. And so it's no question here. We're not questioning whether it's a racist symbol. What I question is, why did the United States government allow it to fly so long? Why did the United States government go through great lengths to eradicate the country of the Black Panther Party, but the KKK has been allowed to run rampant around this country for as long as they've been in existence? So those are the questions that need to be asked, and I think, unfortunately, we all know the answer. Ain't no how Steppin, Marcus J. Joe, I want you in on this last one before we get out of this segment first. Everybody's sick and tired of talking about Donald Trump, except me. I'm the only one that's not sick and tired of talking about him. But the reason why I want to talk about him now on this particular story, I want the ladies in on this after you. As a veteran, I want to know what your opinion is of what Donald Trump said about John McCain. John McCain, of course, senator out of Arizona. Senator out of Arizona. John McCain, you might remember, is the great American senator who blessed us all with Sarah Palin when he ran against Barack Hussein Obama in 2000, and help me out with my math, y'all, 2008. And so that's who John McCain is. But what a lot of who he is. But a lot of people don't realize that John McCain was some would call a war hero. He was someone who was shot down and captured. He was a prisoner of war, and you know, this is who he is. This is his story. And Donald Trump, who has made no secret of the fact that he will say whatever he wants, no matter who it offends, basically came out and said that John McCain is no war hero because he got captured. Is essentially the gist of his comment. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard it all, but that's a pretty decent setup. We can talk about it. So the first thing I'll ask you is the fact that John McCain was captured, in your opinion, Joe, does that make him any less of a war hero? Do we agree, disagree with Donald Trump? What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I disagree with Donald Trump just because Donald Trump is stupid. That's just me on this. I mean, he's Donald Trump. Okay, let's put Donald Trump into perspective. What is he? Donald Trump is a big shot, big mouth, blowhard who feels that his money, which most people who have money feel that they can do, can intimidate, can demoralize, can say what they want to say, and hide behind their money. So let's just be clear, folks. Any idiot who sits there and votes for him or wants to vote for him, because you know there are some people who want to put him in office.
His approval ratings are up.
He's leading.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, he's leading.
That is
says a lot about the people that support him.
Well, they stupid too. I mean, I just can't sit there and say, to be shot down and to be behind enemy lines and to be.
He spent 5 years. He spent 5 years as a prisoner of war. That's Donald Trump. We got a little bit distracted, and that's my fault. My apologies. But he spent 5 years as a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
How many years?
5.
How many wars did Donald Trump go to?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what Donald Trump was up to.
He went to Wall Street.
Hey, Bless, let's talk about what Donald Trump was up to. When John McCain was a prisoner of war, Donald Trump around that time was just finishing up high school and college. He went to Ivy League college while John McCain was a prisoner of war being tortured. And Donald Trump, on the heels of his dad having a whole bunch of money, graduated college with a net worth of about $200,000, according to his autobiography, which in today's money is about $1.4 million.
Now, question, was this the time where people were getting drafted into the war?
Yes, it is. You could absolutely be drafted in 1968 when Donald Trump graduated college, and we know that he was not one of those people. So,
Well, money does have its privileges in, huh?
Yeah, I suppose it does. I mean, there is a long line of shall we say, affluent politicians who are baby boomers who are of the age to have been drafted and mysteriously did not end up serving any time in the military.
And this is the man that some people want to put into office
and
to demoralize how our government or how our military works, and the people that became prisoners of. I can't see that military people would want to support him, but then again, there are people that believe that sharks should be cleared out of the water. So
did you see that on Fox today? Fox News. I don't want to jump all around, but real quick, because you touched on something. Fox News said because of the surfer that was
Fighting the shark.
The shark attacked him. He said, well, it was a woman. She said that there should, no, it was a dude. It was a dude. He said there should be some kind of way that they can clear that area of the ocean of the sharks so that they can have their surfboards.
And this is what people listen to.
And this is where people go.
Fox News, right?
Yes.
Fox News.
You know what I think about Fox News, too.
Yeah, FAUX News. Fall News. And Steppin with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Just to put a bow on this segment, kind of go backtrack for just a minute, Kim. You were showing me a photograph of someone, of two people, when we were talking about the rally in South Carolina, and it kind of shows you the differences in the mentality. Why don't you tell the listeners about that photograph and what we were talking about when we saw it?
So the photograph was this weekend in South Carolina, and it was of a black police officer assisting a white supremacist who was suffering from heat stroke, because in case y'all hadn't noticed, it was real hot outside. And he was suffering from heat stroke during the rally, and the black police officer was assisting him to shade and cold water. And in one of the articles that I was reading, I believe it was on Yahoo News, there was a comment under the article by a Caucasian woman that said, "Good job, because I wouldn't have had it in my heart to help him." Yeah. And I think that pretty much says it all. Yeah. But what someone said in the comments was, well, he was a police officer, he was just doing his job. He is a police officer, he was doing his job, and we certainly can't take away from that. But you have to think about the climate, and I'm not talking about the heat now, but the climate around a black man who looked to be in his 40s, maybe 50s, assisting a white man who was out here protesting basically his right to be in his own home, and helping him to water and shade.
Right. When because he was foolish enough to be out there in the
first place.
In the first place. Yeah. And he clearly had on a shirt that was very clear about what his feelings were.
And I think it goes back to our first segment, what Mr. Minor was saying about, some people have integrity and some people don't.
Right. How Steppin Marcus J. When I was having the conversation about that photograph in social media, ironically, the same friend of mine who was at the light when the Confederate flag people rode by her, she said that it reminded her of an episode of The Jeffersons. And for those folks who may not remember, there was an episode of the Jeffersons where Tom Willis had stumbled upon a group meeting in the basement of their building, and those people wanted Tom to come. Tom didn't realize that he just invited George Jefferson to a Klan rally, which is funny. It's very funny.
George was the right one to go.
But when he showed up, the Klan leader was so upset about seeing George that he literally had a heart attack on the spot. And George gave him CPR and saved his life. Oh, wow. And when the guy woke up and realized what had gone on, he says to his son, who appeared to be late teens, he said, "He saved me," pointing to George. "He saved me?" "Yeah, Dad, he saved you." And he looked at his son and he looked at George and he said, "You should have let me die." And I remember that episode very clearly. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I just remember it. And it speaks a lot to the mentality of a lot of these people, and the hatred that they have in their heart is unparalleled. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk some more. And I ain't going to tell you about what. I got Big Bro Joe, little sis Kim, and our sister Bless. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J. Be back in a minute.